Well, welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader, where I'm going to be doing some different food preservation from my garden harvest, which has been early this year. So, y'all, my entire house smells just like onions. It really, really does. And I want to share with you some different ways that you can really make the best use of the entire onion. So I hope you'll stay tuned. It feels like forever since I've been on YouTube. I would be remiss if I did not thank all of you for your wonderful and kind comments, for going back and watching old videos. I am so amazed because my channel has grown over the last week when I didn't have any. I mean, I had a couple little videos, but they were more like slideshow type things. So I just want to thank you all. I do appreciate your thoughts and prayers. I think I can do this without crying. If I do, I know you'll excuse me. This has been such a weird variety of emotions. Y'all, my mom did not go easily. She really hung on. And so finally hospice said, you need to go home because your mom is not going to pass while you're here. And she would go, and y'all, if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead 2 minutes. She would go like a minute and not breathe. And I would think, okay, this is it. And I would get up to go get a nurse. And by the time I got to the door, she would take another breath. And that's just how some people pass away. And I've literally seen hundreds in my career, but it's completely different when it's your mother. So the minute I got home and laid my head down, I got the phone call. Y'all, I'll make another video. That way you don't have to listen to all this. But what I will share with you, and it is on my channel, for some reason, I could not share her obituary directly from Newcomer Funeral Home in Beaver Creek. I could only take pictures, so I apologize for that. Probably technology challenge. I could tweet it and I could share it to Facebook. That was all. So, pardon me, it's the onion smell, guys. So yesterday I harvested all the onions. Lordy be, y'all. I had a ton of onions. And that's what I'm going to be working on today. So here are my onions. They are yellow onions. They are about the strongest onion that I have ever smelled. Now, normally I would be making onion broth. I still have an entire case that I canned last year that I have not used, so I'm not going to do that. But what I did yesterday is I harvested all the onions, and then overnight, and this was a pretty quick process, I decided I wanted to save some of the tops. So I filled my freeze dryer trays, and I have a medium harvest tray, which has 4 trays, with the green tops. So I washed everything, trimmed off anything that didn't look pristine. Then I ran it through, I have an Instant Pot Ace blender, which is wonderful. And I ended up with a whole jar of onion top powder. And let me tell y'all, it was, well, you can't smell it through the jar being sealed. So I just vacuum sealed the jar. And I used, and y'all, I can try to link this. It's an electric Mason jar sealer, and it does small lids, irregular lids, and wide mouth both. It is cordless, so you can charge it. I always have trouble getting that back together. Guys, I got this for $14 on like, you know, like a blue light special. Whew, that's Kmart, isn't it? The last I checked, it was like 42. But I'm telling y'all, this thing is wonderful to use. And I have never had it not faithfully seal a jar unless I didn't have it on straight, or if there's anything on the rim of the jar so that the lid can't suction down. Pardon me. Oh, now I'm going to have hiccups. Yeah, see? Let me get a little drink out of my sippy cup. It's still fairly dark outside. Guys, we got 1.5 inches of rain yesterday and the day before, like put together. And it has rained off and on this morning, so I am super glad to not have to water the garden today because I do get tired of doing that. I usually still go ahead and water my pots. The other item, before we get into the onions, that I freeze-dried and vacuum sealed, I just put a little bit on the Harvest Right trays. Garlic scapes. Now you can pickle these, you can do whatever, but I plan to just rehydrate them and use them as a pizza topping. So I just put them in a little jelly jar. And the one thing about freeze drying is the way it goes in is the way it goes out. It doesn't get a lot smaller on veg. So it does take up a little bit more room. If I thought I wouldn't use that in the next year, I probably would do it in Mylar, but this is not a long-term storage item. So here's what the plan is this morning. Guys, if you don't have one of these, you need it. It makes chopping so easy. So it is a Vidalia Chop Wizard. And what you do, you open it up here. You put your, I've used it for apples. You can use it for anything. You put it on here and then you whack it and it falls through. Well, okay, and that comes off. And then it has measurements on the side. Okay, there you can kind of see. It comes with 2 screens, a very fine one and then a bigger one. And it also comes with a little tool because the lid gets a lot of, oh, I see there's something in there. It'll get a lot of stuff stuck in there. Okay. And I just vacuumed. So that's what it looks like. Oh, I see another piece of something. Okay. There you go. So I'm going to get busy chopping. I'm going to speed myself up. And then I'm going to walk you through how I plan to preserve all of these onions. I'm not going to keep any for fresh eating because, y'all, they are so strong. Yeah, I wouldn't want like a slice on a hamburger. Whoo-wee, no. But they'll be perfect for cooking this winter in soups, stews, chilies, whatsoever. All right, hope you stay tuned. Okay, y'all, so I've pulled the top off. Then it has a finger hole for you to pull the cutter off. And what I like and enjoy about this so much is if you're dehydrating, if you're freeze drying, because you could do this dehydration too. What I will tell you is you might want to put your dehydrator like in the garage or something, because when you dehydrate, it really, really, really smells. When you freeze dry, there's virtually no odor that comes from the freeze dryer that I have observed. And trust me, y'all, these onions are really, really, really strong. So I actually washed and prepped these pretty well yesterday. Because I knew I had this project to do. And we're gonna talk about some other preserving projects that I've been working on, different ways that you might consider preserving. I love my freeze dryer. My freeze dryer will probably run pretty much nonstop for the month of July. But a lot of things that will be later in the season, those will not be freeze-dried items. One thing that I will definitely be freeze-drying a ton of is zucchini. And guys, I have all the zucchini. Just tell you, also want to do some fresh eating. So this is probably one of the few items that I will not eat fresh. I mean, I certainly could. It's just, maybe I've smelled too many onions because, guys, PU, they are so strong. And I will tell you, if you're like, oh, crud, I've got this terrible smell of onions on my hand and I can't get it off, I make a coffee soap. And before you ask, no, I don't have any in stock for selling. And I don't mean that to sound as rude as it just did, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, this may not be my best video ever, but guys, I got to get back in the swing of things. I really, really do, because, you know, one of the things I've come to realize, and you're going to be like, well, yeah, but it is an adjustment when you've been taking care of a friend, a family member, a loved one, a parent, whatever, a spouse. I know some of you have that challenge too. When you no longer have that responsibility, you can really feel at a loss, guys. And I am a nurturer. You know, that's why I became a nurse. That's just kind of my thing. And I'm going to have to keep going with life and not let this stop me being a productive person. So I'm going to get the rest of these onions chopped up. It's really not taking very long. I'll take you into the pantry room and show you how I'm going to freeze dry these. All right, y'all, I'll try to speak up. So it says load trays into freeze dryer, close drain valve, and it has to cool for 15 minutes before you start. So the drain valve, I've tried to show in the past, is over here. So I've closed that. Whoops, sorry about the hand, guys. And as you see, some ice has formed. Now, these cucumbers being so hot in water, this, I would imagine, even the onions being higher in water, this probably will not finish up until tomorrow, and that's okay. Freeze drying, especially liquids, take a long time. You can speed up the process if you want to by pre-freezing your trays. Full disclosure, I'm gonna shut the lid all the way tight and push continue. And it says freezing, and it is 99 degrees in there because I don't think it's 99. Well, it says it's 99. I just defrosted it from yesterday's onion top freeze dry. Hi, girly girls. Yes, it's raining. Where's your sissy? Is she laying mama an egg? Honk honk. I brought you something. So, I try to give like a lot of my vegetable scraps to the chickens. Sometimes they will eat it. Sometimes they're like, nope, we're all set. There is some asparagus from yesterday that the neighbor brought the chickens. And there's Miss Marigold in there. Yeah, they're like, we're all set with that. It isn't worms. And yes, Miss Violet is the one. Hello, yes, you know your name. She's the one that's been broody. And she's finally unbroody. It was this girl who lays the biggest and most consistent eggs that laid me the tea tiny egg. Okay, I'm getting soaked, so y'all, let's do, and please excuse the way my grass looks. Since my chicken's free range, I do not treat my backyard, and you can see it's suffering from the heat. Y'all, I'm not gonna do a garden tour, but let me just show you. This is my pumpkin patch. It is going crazy. And then here's my zucchini loaded with blooms. I need to feed my butternut squash. It's struggling a bit. But yes, everything, my tomatoes are taller than me now. Everything is just huge. All right, time to move on to the next item. and that is zucchini. So while I was outdoors, I went ahead and picked some zucchini in the rain. And y'all, I know zucchini by the end of the season, you're like, I don't even want to see a zucchini. I love zucchini, and I had more zucchini ready than I need for what we're about to make. Just cut it up into spears, have it prepped and in the fridge. I'm telling you, it's delicious to eat it that way. The second thing I did was I shredded it up in the food processor, and what I have left over, I am going to freeze, and I will just keep adding to that. It's really helpful to measure it out in like whatever your favorite zucchini bread recipe is, but I always try to keep shredding it and keep it frozen. And I'm completely out from last year. Last year I only planted one zucchini plant. This year I think I planted 6. So I'm gonna have 6 times the amount. I hate to do a knock and run, you know, where you drop a bunch of zucchini on somebody's front porch. I have to do that. But no, seriously, I love sharing my harvest with others. And zucchini is truly one of my favorite things. I like to pick them when they're very small before they get seedy. But if the inside of your zucchini is real seedy or pithy, you know, stringy, just take a spoon and scrape it out, and you can make like zucchini boats. It's really good, guys. You could do this with cucumbers too, especially like overgrown. Because you know, if you miss a cucumber or zucchini for like 2 days, it goes from being this big to like 8 feet long. Fill it with your favorite, like tuna salad, egg salad. So good. And it's low carb for those of you who are keto. But I am going to make some bread this morning. So, let me give you the disclaimer first. And y'all, please excuse the fact that I'm not quite on my game, y'all. I think y'all know that. So, I love this website called breaddad.com. He does all kinds of bread machine recipes that I can't find in any of my cookbooks. But I'm going to give you a caveat. Rarely does my bread get done using my Zucchini bread machine. So every bread machine works a little differently. However, what I've learned is all of the Zucchini insides, including the little flippers, for mine are metal. I can fire up the oven and finish it off in there. I suspect that's what we're going to have to do today. His instructions are, this makes a 2-pound loaf, which is a big loaf of bread, and that you put it on the light setting. I'm probably not going to do that for a couple reasons. I'm putting a little extra zucchini, and I am also adding some raisins. So let's get started making it. So the first thing we're going to put in here is 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. I am using avocado oil. It is a good oil to use because it's very neutral. You can use it sweet or savory, either one. See what I mean about not being on my game, guys? And to that, we're going to add 2 well-beaten eggs. And y'all, wait till you see these eggs. These I just got this morning. They are so orange. Can you see that? I don't want to dump it on the floor because I'm good at doing that. One thing I will say, if you are using a bread machine for sweetbreads, I have found that you need to stir it, even with the highest quality machine that I know of, which is a Zucchini. You'll end up with flour spots if you don't, which doesn't make for a very appetizing loaf of bread. So, whoops, throw your fork around a little bit. fling egg everywhere. So we've got our veggie oil and our 2 eggs. And to that, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And guys, if you are ordering from Azure, their full fold vanilla extract is delicious. What did I say? 2 teaspoons? 1, 2. Oh, that smells so good. Now, the next thing, always put your liquids in the bottom of a bread machine. If you're new to owning a bread machine, where did I put, okay. Where did I put my cups, right? So we need, ooh, hang on guys, I popped you off. Okay, stay. 1 1/4 cup of brown sugar, packed of course. And I don't want to get too carried away with it. And I'm going to use the 1/2 cup because it's just, my brown sugar's down at the end and I want to use up what's in here before I open a new package. Y'all, I will tell you, it feels great and weird all at the same time to be home because I have been gone every single day. I've spent more time away from home in the last couple months than I normally do. Okay, so there's our 1.5 cups of brown sugar, or 1.25 cups of brown sugar. Oh, y'all, I'm so thankful for the rain. It is raining again. The girls, not so much. Okay, and next is 2 cups of AP flour or all-purpose flour. I have to use the 1/2 cup measure. And again, I know this needs filled up, but I'm really trying to use up everything before I add fresh so that you don't get to the end of your flour and it's like super stale. And yes, flour will get stale on you. So there's 1/2. 1. 1.5, and I just try to distribute it fairly evenly, but the Zucchini does a relatively good job of distributing the ingredients, but I'm telling you, just stir it with the spatula because it will stick to the side. Okay, we're gonna add a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm using Ceylon cinnamon. I'm gonna add a generous teaspoon. We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I think I have everything out, guys. That'll be a first. And I'm so distractible today that, wow, I'll be surprised if that's the case. Then you want to add a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of baking soda. Now, I'm going to read the ingredient list to you here in just a minute, or the instructions. Lord, people, am I going to post this? I guess I will. Okay, it says, pour vegetable and eggs into the bread pan, then add the other ingredients except the zucchini and the walnuts, which are added later. Try to follow the order of the ingredients listed as I did. So liquid ingredients are placed in the pan first and the dry ingredients second. Put it into the bread machine. Set it for sweetbread or cake. Mine is a cake setting, which is number lucky 13. So let's snap this in here. And I am going to leave the crust control on medium. Let me tip you guys back up. Okay. Now you might be like, okay, where's the zucchini and the nuts and such? After it finishes the first stir cycle, it's gonna beep. Again, you'll have to follow your own bread machine instructions, but most are set that way. You want to add the zucchini and the walnuts, or they say chocolate chips. Yeah, no. And I'm going to put a few raisins in it as well. And then you add that in. So let's hit the start button. And we'll let it get through the first mix. I'll get the second ingredients measured out. And I'll bring you back to show you what it looks like. And we'll keep on with our preservation day of what's ready in the garden. I hope you'll stay tuned. All right, my machine has beeped. I want to show you the sides. See the flour here? Yeah, you don't want that in your bread. And it will come up as like dry, crumbly. And it does affect the taste of your bread as well. So give it a good scrape down, which I've done. I'm gonna add our zucchini. Y'all, I did want to share this with you. I've been ordering these from Azure. This is the 1 pound size of their organic Thompson raisins. And it says oiled. And I'm like, what does all that mean? Well, y'all, and I'm going to measure with my heart. Love me some raisins. This is what they look like. Beautiful plump raisins. But if you've ever had a raisin that gets kind of dried out and crunchy, yeah, the oiled raisins do not. And, you know, let's see what kind of oil. Sunflower oil. Now, I've had these walnuts vacuum sealed. It does call for a cup. Just measuring what you want. And these are already pretty finely chopped. I like to add the raisins, so I think it's much, much better to just kind of half and half the ingredients. So I will push start again because the ingredients are added. It will stir. I will check it one more time, y'all, because I just know my machine and it doesn't always get everything incorporated perfectly on sweetbreads. I don't have that problem with yeast spreads. Go figure that out. Just real quick, I wanted to show you how simple it is. Oops, of course you can't see. So I'm going to reseal my walnuts. So I'm going to take off the attachment, use the wide mouth. You simply snap it on, and then there's a button on top, a power button, and it will count seconds. Now, one of the things it does that I think is really weird, once you stop it, I hope y'all can hear me over all this shenanigans going on here. It will tell you what percentage of air is left in it. I have never been able to get all the air out, and it can largely depend on how full your jar is. Usually 30 to 40 seconds. Now, you hear how it's kind of changing the tone, it's coming up higher. That's because it's pretty much got all the air out of it. Okay. And there you have it. It's sealed. So this really makes a big difference for me on nuts not getting rancid and saves me money in the long run. So just a couple other things quickly. Oh, you guys are a little crooked to share with you. It is very easy for me, I'll speak for myself, by end of season to be like, I am so over this, I don't want to preserve anything. And I know a lot of you don't can as well, so I thought, let me do a video where I'm utilizing things fresh or I'm preserving them for later, whether it's freeze drying, you could use the dehydrator in place of, or freezing. You know, there are other ways. You don't have to be an expert canner even to can, but it can really help you out if you have other methods. And that way, if something fails, guys, you have a backup. So I do have a whole house generator, but I didn't always. So if my freezer, let's say, just stops suddenly and I lose everything in it, Well, I'm still going to have canned items on the shelf. I may have some dehydrated items. I'm certainly going to have freeze-dried items and store-purchased items. So, you know, I try to keep a well-rounded pantry. I did get, and I didn't put this in here because the video is getting too long, I had gotten some more rhubarb, which I just chopped and froze because I dehydrated or ate the rest of it. And don't forget to eat some of that fresh, guys. It's so good for you. And I also have some berries that I need to deal with. I have some strawberries and I have some black raspberries. So I have made them into jelly and canned them. I have freeze-dried some. So I may just freeze those. We'll see. That might be a different video. I personally do not like black raspberries. I love the flavor, hate the seeds. So I generally will run it through the food mill that you've all seen me use. It's called a Victorio strainer. But I don't know if I have the strength to do that today. So I am still working hard on finishing up cleaning out Mom's apartment. That's been a whole thing, and I won't even finish that up until tomorrow. And today has been the first day in probably 2 months that I've been home, so it's been really nice. And the fact that it's raining, it's even nicer because now I'm not out in the garden working, even though I need to be. But I am preserving the bounty. I also harvested 5 heads of broccoli. I have 1 more left out there that wasn't ready, and blanched and froze that. All the onions are out. I did a short on the garlic. It is still drying out for 30 days. So my garden is really doing well. And I might have purchased 2 more raised beds. 2 more 8-foot raised beds. Because y'all, I just love to garden. Even if I just put plants. Yeah, well, you will put plants in there. You won't be putting the cat in there. Y'all, my mind is just not working right. Even if I only put flowers or herbs, that's okay. But one thing I've realized, and y'all see it when I do the next garden tour, my tomatoes are way too close together. And what I would like to do is have some trellises or cattle panels that are permanent to grow my indeterminate tomatoes. All right, we're gonna let this bake. I'll bring you back at the very end and we'll do a taste test. It's gonna be a few hours. May not look so nice. I just didn't worry about the whole eye makeup thing or lipstick today, so you get what you get. But I'm clean. That's a plus. I'll talk to you soon. All right, y'all. Our delicious zucchini bread is out of the bread machine. So let me tell you, doing a medium crust, it got completely done. So forget all that I said about having to cook it in the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and take a slice of this. It is still very warm, but that's okay, because warm bread, good. Oh yeah. Oh nice. I didn't do a very nice job cutting, but let me show you what it looks like on the inside. So nuts and raisins and zucchini. So let's give it a taste. Oh, guys. Very, very moist, which that's one of the hallmarks of a zucchini bread. I think the brown sugar and the white sugar really gave it more richness and depth of flavor. It is so, so, so good. I think the only thing I would change about the recipe is I personally might put more cinnamon in, but it is adequately sweet, deliciously moist. Took too big of a bite. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's video. It was a little of this and a little of that, a lot of preserving. The rain finally let up so the chickens could go out. They're very happy. They don't seem to mind getting wet. They've kind of gotten used to it. I plan to see you all a little later this week, depending on how things go. Mom's funeral's actually Friday, so I kind of doubt I'll have a Saturday video, but I'll try to get at least one more video up this week, and I'll leave a note in the community tab to give you the heads up because it probably won't be on my regular day and time. If you do me a big favor, please go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me a comment below. Is there another way that you like to preserve fresh produce that I didn't discuss here today? You know, once our onions get done, another thing that you can do is run it through, if you have a Vitamix or like I have as a Ace Instant Pot blender, very, very similar thing. I can powder that up and make homemade organic onion powder from the actual onions themselves. So I will see you all again very soon, and until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care.